Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's live Monday music motivation. We have a fun one for you this week, as we do every week, I think at least. But this week I'm talking about sort of going back to the basics because I think that is really so important and so fundamental to our growth. You are probably familiar, if you've watched any of my stuff before, of the great Friedrich von Schiller quote, who was a 19th century German poet and playwright. And the quote is, "Only those with the patience to do simple things perfectly will acquire the skill to do difficult things easily," or something more or less like that. And I just love this quote so much because it applies so well to learning to play the clarinet fundamentals, music fundamentals, all that good stuff. Only those with the patience to do your simple long tones, scale patterns, counting rhythms, those simple kinds of things, only those with the patience to do those simple things will acquire the skill to do the difficult things easily. And this goes for not even just doing fundamentals necessarily, but even on your music, kind of breaking it down and getting into the basics. And I was talking with a student last week and just reminded of how important those fundamentals are for everything we do. And the way that I kind of want to frame it today that I think might be helpful for you is to kind of see it as potential energy. That's kind of what we're creating when we do our fundamentals. And it's not super satisfying like the kinetic energy, but it's building that potential energy for us in the future. If you aren't familiar with the difference between kind of potential and kinetic energy, if you kind of hold a ball in the air, it has potential energy. It's not moving, there's not really energy in it, but it has the potential to fall and have energy. Or if you kind of stretch a rubber band, it's not moving, it's not really doing anything, but if you then let go, it releases that potential energy and transfers that potential energy from the stretched rubber band into the kinetic energy of the shooting. There's a little bit of satisfaction of like, ooh, I'm sounding really good, or oh, the sound was kind of fuzzy, but I did this with my embouchure or my air or something and made the sound a little bit more clear. So there is some satisfaction in kind of that forward movement and that kinetic energy that can happen even on long tones, but a lot of it is not so satisfying. You don't play your long tone exercise and say, wow, that was like such beautiful, touching, melodic music, because most long tone exercises aren't very melodic necessarily. However, you're building your potential energy, you're building your foundation where you're going through your long tones and you're figuring out, okay, how do I make this interval come out very smooth and make this note match this note and have a clear, full, round, dark, beautiful, deep sound, all of those adjectives that you want your sound to be. And you're figuring that out and building up that potential energy and that kind of foundational understanding that you can then kind of unleash on the music. So when you get to playing some piece or working on your music that has this kind of beautiful melodic phrase that just is so expressive and so musical, you actually have the control to release that potential energy that you built up in your fundamentals and release that into the kinetic energy of playing the piece and making the music happen. So hopefully that is kind of making sense how warming up that way and building those foundations and going back to the basics there can be really helpful for that to kind of build up that potential energy. And hopefully that gives you a little bit different way of thinking about those warm-ups and fundamentals so that they can be more enjoyable. And if you have something that you're kind of focusing on in them and something you're trying to get out of them, whether it's good sound quality, good finger motion, good articulation, whatever it may be that you're trying to get out of it, if you have that in mind, then your mind's going to be more engaged and you're going to learn more. So hopefully this gives you a way to engage more with those fundamentals so that you can have more patience to do the simple things more perfectly and develop your skills. The other thing that I want to say about this is I actually have a whole playlist of back to basics videos on the Quick Start Clarinet YouTube channel, and that link is in the description below. So if there's some fundamental that you want to get back into it and you want to figure out how to even increase your potential energy even more, then go check that out. There's videos on how to form a good embouchure, how to have good air support and what it actually means to use more air, finger motion and how we should have kind of good hand position, good finger motion, how to use your metronome and figure out the settings of the metronome to get those fundamentals solid and comfortable as well. There's all kinds of good stuff in there. So definitely check that out if you're looking for a little bit more kind of inspiration for some fundamental or some basics to get back to and to develop further to, again, keep developing that potential energy. And of course, another good fundamental, another good basic to be doing is organizing and planning your practice. So of course we have our Monday music motivation template, our practice template to fill out for the week so that you can plan your practice really effectively. You can go to quickstartclarinet.com/get started. That link is also in the description to download this exact template or just make it for yourself. Here's what it looks like. We have our date for the week, the reflection of kind of how things are going and what you want to accomplish. For me, I've been very busy with other stuff and not making a lot of time to practice, so I need to really kind of buckle down and get my practice going because I have a couple of important performances coming up pretty quick. My goal is to work on feeling confident for those performances, and then the plan is the most important part. This is when and what you're going to work on, because when you have a plan of when you're going to do something and what you're going to do at that time, it makes it a whole lot easier for it to actually happen. And that's what these Monday music motivations are all about, is don't wait for the motivation to practice to hit you. Hopefully you have some motivation. You're thinking, ooh, I'm excited to build up my potential energy and make my potential foundation even stronger with even more room for growth by doing those good fundamentals. Hopefully this gets you motivated a little bit, but don't wait for motivation to strike to practice. Just schedule your practice time, show up for the practice time, put in the work, and know that you're building that foundation and going to be growing towards what you want in your playing. So take your practice template, fill that out, put it in your calendar, put it in your schedule, set reminders, do whatever you got to do to make sure that it happens. As you're doing your warm-ups and your fundamentals, think about kind of stretching your fundamentals, like stretching a rubber band to build even greater potential energy that you can unleash on the most beautiful music or the most fast, clean technique with really good finger motion or really beautiful, clear staccato articulation in all the registers or whatever it may be that you're wanting to accomplish in your music. Thanks so much for watching this. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Fill out your practice template, get it in the schedule, and I will see you next week on the next live Monday music motivation. Happy practicing, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and